today here we have two amazing people as our guest. The first one I would like to introduce to you all, Professor Dr. Sara Parker, Liverpool John Moores University, Chair of Britain Nepal Academic Council. And we have Babu Kaji Shrestha, or let's say popularly known as BK Shrestha among the friend circle. He is the founder and executive director of Global Action Nepal. Welcome to the show.
Namaskar.
Namaste.
Okay, so how it feels to be here in Nepal, Sara?
Oh, it feels amazing. I've been many times. So this is my 45th visit in 30 years.
Come again?
Yeah, 45. So when I'm here, I say, "Ma kukura jastilagcha, auni jani." So I come and I go. So I don't live here. But I did live here for 6 months in 92. This trip's a little bit short because I have to go back to teach in the UK. So I have, duties at my university. But yeah, so I'm a little bit busy running around, but it feels great to be here. And every time I come, I just meet the most amazing people, as well as the ones I already know. So I've got old friends and also new friends.
When did you come for the first time in Nepal?
First time was 1986.
Wow.
So I moved from the UK to Singapore, and when we finished our international baccalaureate, there was a trip, and we were going to go to Ladakh on the school trekking trip. But what happened was there was like some slight tensions, so we came to Nepal, and that trip changed my life because it was when the Annapurna Conservation Area project started, and I ended up volunteering in 1992 after I had my geography degree at Leeds University in the UK, and I did TEFL teaching, so I was already an English teacher, English as a foreign language, and I went to live in Siklis for 6 months. And that's Siklis Meron Mighty Justilagcha.
Wow. That was quite impressive. Okay. So coming to you, BK sir. So when did you started this journey?
Well, my journey started in the development sector. That was 80s.
Wow.
With American Peace Corps. And then I was with Students Partnership Worldwide, which is youth organizations working in that field. And then I started Global Action Nepal in 1999. In fact, just before that, we had a Salary Education Fund, a small charity that was established in the UK. And this one was more to do with this Dalit community. And that's where I have started this education. I felt that, working with American Peace Corps and SPW, I felt that education is the key to bring change and transformation in the society. That's where I have started.
Okay, so since you've been working with so long, and then recently you guys have come across through this, you met through since you guys are collaborating with this DWD project, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
So would you mind shedding some light upon that whole concept, like DWD? What is it?
Okay, so Dignity Without Danger is a research project about the menstrual stigmas and taboos in Nepal. But I've actually known BK since 2007.
Wow.
And because the Pahar Trust builds schools, and I knew that Global Action Nepal did the training. And because I'm really privileged and lucky, so I've been 45 times, but I'm paisa. So that the money for my flight has come from my university, and it's always been linked to research. And we had an event in the UK, Pushpa Shrestha, in Manchester, had this big event in the town hall, and I met Chris, who started Global Action Nepal there. So when I met BK in 2007, instantly we were both very passionate about education, because my PhD was on non-formal education and women's education, and particularly a lot of my research focuses on gender. So after the earthquake in 2015, so 10 years ago nearly, women, when a conflict happens, when there's an earthquake or a natural disaster, you're more at risk. So some of the smaller, it brought us together in Liverpool. We formed Liverpool Unites for Nepal. So I didn't realise how many Nepalese people lived in Liverpool and how many NGOs were based there. So we came together to sort of send money, usually direct to the youth groups actually, and to the ground level. And some of the NGOs said, we're giving out these rewashable menstrual kits, and we'd like to have the evaluation, because the NGOs that I know they have to have evidence of their impact. So because I'm coming and going for my research purposes, I often connect people. So we evaluated the pads and we found that they were having an impact. It was helping girls stay in school because you have to be able to manage your menstruation. And it's important to say as well that when we did that project, and if you read about it, we refer to them then as sanitary kits. But now we've moved, along with the menstrual movement, to call them menstrual kits, because the word sanitary makes you think of something that's not sanitary, it's unclean. But menstruation is pure, menstruation is beautiful. With no menstruation, there's no life.
True that.
So after the small project, I got my first big research project from the British Academy, and with a team. Actually, I have the whole team on the back of the book here. There's a lot of us.
Oh, you can show us to our viewers.
Oh, do you want me to show?
Sure.
So this is our whole team, and I have to thank Sophie Maliphant for making us all into these amazing cartoons or illustrations. So we have BK and Madhu from TU, and researchers. We have Kay in the UK, Lydia and Stephanie. So there's a team of us working together with BK. The key to that project, though, was when we wrote the bid, we already had the connection with the Menstrual Health and Hygiene Management Partnership Alliance. So we had 6 NGO partners who helped us say, this is what we need. Rather than just sort of swooping in and doing research, the idea came from the ground, from local people. So if you think about menstruation in Nepal, and I always say this when I do my talks, I presented it at the International Visual Sociology Association conference. And anyone watching, just Google the word menstruation and Nepal, and then hit on images. And you tell each other what you see. Then change Nepal for Bangladesh or India or Sri Lanka. And what you see there is a very different narrative. Now, religion and menstrual stigmas and taboos are across all religions, but they are very deeply embedded in the texts. And you have the same restrictions in India, throughout Asia. But the spotlight is on Nepal because of the deaths that take place in the Chowgoth.
Okay.
And it's important that nobody should ever die from being secluded. But we also need to look at the activism and look at how we can address and help people understand that. And not when I say we, I'm talking about people in Nepal.
True.
Because I am a woman from the outside. Yeah, I'm not
The
part of
insider.
I'm not the insider. I'm kind of an insider and outsider. Depends where I am.
Technically.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely not an outsider. Not an outsider. I'm both.
Okay, kind of.
But yeah, so we put the project together and we had 6 NGOs, and Global Action Nepal was the lead one. So my university made the connection so that they could manage the process here. And it was a 2-year project initially, from 2018 to 2020. But we all know we had the pandemic. So we got a no-cost extension and had 2 extra years, which meant that we had to do a lot of our interaction online. And thankfully, there's lots of technology, and we used radio, and we had an art call out, and people submitted it electronically. We've worked with creative partners, lots of different ones. Carlo 101, Stories of Nepal. Jay did some stories for us. And then we've also done some filming where we gave the women GoPros. And that was inspired by the work of Dr. Sara Bauman from the University of Pittsburgh. Her PhD was exactly on looking at the cultural, what do you do on your period?
True.
How many days? What can you do and
The
not
whole
do?
procedure, let's say.
Yeah, and she used collaborative filmmaking.
Oh, wow.
And we launched the programme in 2018 at the Kathmandu International Mountain Film Festival, and brought together some activists, including Palomi Basu, who'd worked for WaterAid and has got amazing, very powerful photographs. But she's also got multimedia work, and she's continuing to do that. So I've got this really privileged position of being in Nepal, and when I'm here, I sit in cafes and I meet people and I hang out in the social spaces and kind of connect people.
Yeah,
So,
I can see that. So that brings me to the point where, I'd like to ask Mr. Shrestha. So would you mind telling us about what it takes to establish something like Global Action Nepal?
Considering the fact that, looking at community people and children that, they are not really getting opportunity to go to school, particularly access. And then I also felt in my lifetime that quality education is not really everybody is not getting quality education, and girls are not really getting to schools. They are not the priority of the family as well. So looking at that, I felt that probably I should be working in access and quality, and also inclusive. That three parts. That is what I thought, and we, together with my colleague in the UK, we started Global Action Nepal. I have a sister organization in the UK who are supporting initially to Nepal's that initiative. And then, when we have got this platform, Global Action Nepal, then we figure out that, teachers are the key to bring changes inside the classroom.
Very true. A big shout out to all the teachers out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Sarah, so that brings me to a point like, I've seen a lot of people, especially the foreigners, for them, coming to Nepal is like a Tamil or like a, EBC, that is like Everest Base Camp, or ABC, Annapurna Base Camp, and that's it. Maybe a bit of Bhaktapur and somewhere. So you have, as a researcher, also as a professor, what is your analytical point of view for those people? Is it enough for them to have the outlook of Nepal, just visiting a couple of places and living into the luxury hotels, eating on the pizzas or the pastas or whatever the regular food there?
There's so many social enterprises, and it's like they need to advertise each other and not compete. They need to collaborate.
True.
So I'm actually, before I was a professor, I was a reader of development studies.
Not foe, but the friends.
Yeah. So
Well, you have seen this one also, so probably that
Yeah,
is-
please tell us about.
So I was a reader of development studies, but I'm actually a professor of collaborative action research, because without collaboration,
No.
then you're just
Nothing.
And I do think people can come to Nepal, and you don't have to get involved in a charity. It will change you. So I've brought students on field trips, so they do coursework and they do interviews. I've some students have come and done their dissertation here, and recently I've been bringing students. We used to have Erasmus money, and now it's called Turing in the UK. So some of the students in the UK can apply, and they can get funding to help them come here. And they get extra funding if they're from widening participation. So if they're from maybe a poor socioeconomic background, we have a lot of child poverty in the UK. And, if you've been in care in the UK, so you can get this extra funding to help you get here. And it's life-changing for them. I'm doing a survey to assess the impact of coming to Nepal on the people who've come. And when I read it, it makes me want to cry, because sometimes the impact's not immediate, but it's helped people open their eyes to travel, to go to other countries. It's made them more adventurous. And they are just...
A different approach towards
they
life.
leave inspired, but then if they follow me around, I'm like a little chicken running, and I do stay in Tamil as well, but we go to different places, and I try to introduce them to all the different sort of NGOs. It's not just about education and charity, it's also about making fair trade clothes. I've done some research with the Fair Trade Group Nepal. But now lots of organisations are ethical and fair trade, but not necessarily labelled as such, because that is a long process.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
considering that
expensive.
one, that brings me the point on where, you just mentioned that a lot of foreigners, especially be it in whatever terms, for whatever purpose they do come in on, but especially the Caucasian race people, they're already regarded, especially, there's some subconsciously they're regarded as superior than others, especially considering the amount of hospitality. But yet the case is not similar always. Most of the times, foreigners coming to Nepal is always seen under the light of scrutiny, meaning that there is this whole conspiracy theory that UK or America or other Christian countries are, deploying their people in the name of welfare and, the social service to convert into Christianity. And that's what they say, because that's how they're sending not the people, the worker, but the troops.
Nobody
They
should
said
ever
that.
convert to anybody's religion. And now menstruation, we could talk about the Hindu text, but we have it in every single text.
True.
And people often say, oh, it's not my religion, it's my culture. So that's one to unpick. But I'll just give you an example from Dignity Without Danger.
Okay.
So we worked with women in the Far West, and they filmed their menstrual practices. And we have 2 documentaries. So if you go to the Dignity Without Danger YouTube channel, they're freely there available. What we really need is people to comment and subscribe so that more people see them, because these are films edited by Sara and her team in America, because I don't even have the skills to edit a film like you guys do. So they were... when we did the film showing in the Far West, one of the questions the next day, I had the women in the Far West who'd made the films come to the conference in the Far West University. And one of the questions afterwards, because one of the women was Christian and said, well, I don't have any restrictions. Everyone was asking me, so you're here to convert people? And I was like, number one, I'm kind of don't have a specific religion. And number two, I really don't think anyone should be converting anyone out of their religion. I respect the cultures and traditions. So after you've menstruated on the last day, you sprinkle the cow urine and drink a little bit, and the face like this comes. But then also,
come on, that's on hygiene.
no, but also sometimes when you're in, men will go and have the cow urine to purify. So it's prescribed.
No offense to others, but for me, this is like quite unhealthy.
But Grandma in the film, please watch Parabasa Stay Away.
Okay.
It's a film that made by women in Nepal. Now, Grandma passed away. I get upset when I say this. She passed away in 2021. But in the film, the main message is, if you sit with me, I will not blame you if I get ill. So they're in a meeting. They have this meeting. They made the drama themselves. They wrote it. They have 5 beautiful songs that they recorded and sang themselves. Now, Grandma loved her cow. Grandma would always purify. And she said, I will never blame a menstruating woman for making me ill, but I will never go in a temple, and I will continue my rituals. And you have to respect that, because that's a deeply held belief. It's like I would never not say to a Catholic, well, confession is not real. You know, who are you confessing to? I'm not going to challenge these. You have so many beautiful gods and beautiful stories. We need to celebrate the female goddesses more. And we do need to talk about menstrual stigmas and taboos.
So it's basically more into the line of, rejoicing the similarities and respecting the differences.
Exactly.
And also the, what we, not even for religion, like Christianity you are talking about, but even for the change, our practices. There are good things also in our culture. And Sarah, there are some of the need to change, which can be kind of detrimental to your health, possibly, or to the community, or those sort of things. Our Asian, we are also outsider in a community. However, we are Nepali. What we can really do is that we can offer them, like, different practices and different ways of handling things. Another one is that giving them lots of different alternatives. Let them make the decision. We are not the change maker. We cannot impose anyone to change themselves.
It's up to them.
It's up to them.
Also, it is important to work with the religious leaders. So one of our partners initially was the Radha Patel Foundation, and then there's the Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. So anyone who wants to know about globally, these taboos are all over the world. But that foundation, also Good Neighbourhood and others in the Menstrual Health Network, they're starting to work for a couple of years now with religious leaders, with the shamans, with the jacqueries, with the priests. And when they actually have the education, and if you look in the text, you can reinterpret the text. I really would love somebody to reinterpret all religious texts from a feminist lens.
Okay, wow.
Let's celebrate the feminine.
There you go.
But that doesn't exclude the masculine, because we need the yin and the yang. We need to look at the girls and the boys. So, we're going back to 2000, after the conflict, myself and my colleague Kay, we looked at the impact of the conflict in schools. Now, obviously, children were very scared, especially in remote areas, but there's a lot of focus on gender-based violence. It's 16 days of end violence against women and girls. I've got goosebumps. The activism here is off the scale. You have so many activists in this country, and we also need to focus about boys as well, because boys also suffered and were scared, and boys may have committed atrocities, as part of being in the conflict. Everyone needs counselling and support. There's not enough counselling, but that in the UK, the counselling and the support and helping to build children's resilience, the pressure's being put on the primary school teachers. And we have a mental health crisis because of the impact of COVID on people. So there's a lot of pressure on teachers.
This is like, when you talk about gender equity, in my experience also, and we were working on it, and we have been working for a long time. What we have found is that, it's equal opportunity. But first, until the girls, or the women comes to certain level who can talk with, man or male.
So basically,
partners.
first equity and then equality.
And then, that is very important. That is what we have found. And we use one technique, approach that was working very well, which is called sister for sister.
Oh, okay.
Big sister helping little sister. Because little sister always get, like, if you go to Tarai, early marriage. Even in the mountain, even in the city area, still there is. So big sister always work as a police, who
a go-to person.
It's kind of person
Yeah.
that taking these issues to the legal aspects. Similarly, we had Play for Change. We try to give them opportunity to in sports, and then those girls were very happy to come and then begin to work. In the community, they wouldn't believe that it happened. It is really working well. So the girls coming and then kind of leading, and so many things happening. So that kind of slowly, this kind of approaches have been found very.
So this is when I got to know
good.
BK. This was all happening, and I was like, "Wow, you're talking about exactly what I'm interested in.
Okay.
That grounded approach and empowering and fun." And in May, I was here, and that you have 15 girls who you're training to be more empowered teachers using creative methods. I did two things. I've also written a children's book called Adventures of Fairies and a Nepali Frog. And it's got a puppet I usually have my puppets. I didn't have it with me. And that was to sort of make people talk, create spaces for people to talk. And yesterday I was talking to Uttam, who was part of the SETI program 45 years ago. And he was talking about the importance then, when they were training girls and giving them access to education, it was non-formal because they couldn't go to school because they had house duties. And they did it in the public space. And that meant that the parents could see the impact. So then when you put them in the school and the parents can't, I was like, wow, I need to really rethink some of these things.
Yeah, no wonder why. We have now in terms of the access, we have got, 96.3 or 7, something like that.
Wow, so we've really come far.
Come
across
well,
a
we
lot.
have
But
to
not
make
just
100%
coming,
though.
But also when I was in Cyclist in the 90s, the girls were on the back row, and also the people who were from the Dalit community were more shy and on the back. Now everyone's mixed. The girls used to hide in their shawl at the back. And one day they went behind the school, and I used to have these very big glasses, right, 1980s.
Okay.
And they all wanted the picture they all put my clothes on, and with my glasses, and I have all these brilliant pictures. But now the change, even your girls since May, we did menstruation workshops. We invited, I can't remember the name of the company with the film. There's some beautiful films out there about menstruation that make people question the stigmas and taboos. And this time, their confidence, you can see in 6 months, has because they've had support and training. They have a WhatsApp group, and I've been invited to be on it. So sometimes I might be having a bad day at work, or something's happening in the world, and then you get these pictures from these girls of what they're doing, and it just
Brightens up the
lifts
day.
you. Yeah. So I come to Nepal to be inspired and to work with amazing people.
Well, this is in fact, that is very true. And
if there is any message you'd like to deliver at the end of the show?
Yeah. So one thing I haven't really spoken enough about is menstruation because of Dignity Without Danger. And exactly what you've said, actually, these resources came out of the project. It was lots of art and all these other projects. But this one brought together the government, the curriculum makers. We secured some funding from GIZ because Anasandam ko paisa sidyo. So the research money finished. And these resources are to help teachers teach menstruation, because too often, especially with it's a sensitive topic and maybe the teacher's shy, So they just skip it and then say, I'll test you tomorrow. So we have one for the teachers, a guide to help students learn. We made radio programs. Global Action Nepal did, because COVID meant that we needed to get the message out. But actually, we need to make these now audio as well, because we've done an evaluation. And this book is Ruby's World, which is WASH United. So take lessons from overseas and other places as well. Learn from your failures and celebrate your successes. And that leads me to the last one. So if you want these resources, please reach out to Global Action Nepal. But we're just in the final stages of evaluating the impact so we can feed it to the policymakers. And hopefully the government will say, yes, these are brilliant, and we'd like every school to have them. We also would love to have in, and we have this in Nepalese as well, we would love to have this book and this one from India, Menstrupedia. Check them out on social media. They have lots of videos. But we would love to include that. But if we make it too expensive, it's not affordable for the government or the schools. So we're trying to be realistic. We're going to get feedback on our recommendations, and we'll launch again in May. I think we'll have our final product for Menstrual Hygiene Day, May the 28th. And also check out December the 8th, Dignified Menstruation Day. Nepal has a policy that has yet to be ratified called Dignified Menstruation. And when that is ratified, Nepal will be a global leader. I go to the conference for the Society for Menstrual Cycle Research in America, in Washington, and Nepal's policies, this curriculum is fantastic. I would say we have a lot to learn from Nepal. And finally, celebrate any social enterprise. Use your social media. I'm not on TikTok. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. TikTok's a little bit, I'm getting a little bit woody. I'm getting old for TikTok. But use your social media and your power and share positive stories so that people can celebrate, connect, and continue to inspire not just Nepali people, but the world. It really is. I come to Nepal and I always leave inspired. So I'd just like to thank, obviously, BK, but all the people I've worked with over the years, because I wouldn't actually have stayed in my job without my connection to Nepal. Because these activists, when you do the Menstruation Nepal, Menstruation India, you see the activism in India, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. We need the international media to focus on the amazing work that's being done here. It has lots of different activists in, from filmmakers to people making pads, to people working with film, art, drama. And if, again, we're working on having it in the bookshops, we have it available in Nepali. But we need a system so that the funds that we raise from this can then help us continue to do the work. And the funds will be raised locally. And if there's any philanthropists out there looking for advice, come to the Brango meetings. Let's form forums. So we have the Brango in Nepal, so you're doing the same. Share your successes, share your failures, and collaborate. Education on its own is not going to solve menstrual discrimination. No. Health on its own, WASH on its own. We need it all to come together, and we need to support people so that everyone has a happy and healthy menstruation. It's good for the women, it's good for the boys, because no menstruation, no life.
All right. Thank you so much for having us today and giving us your positive insights. We wish you all the very good luck for your future endeavors.
Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
I forgot that we're even being recorded, so I might have to rethink being a chili. I think I'm cinnamon. Thank
you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.